Welcome to Money Moves, brought to you by 274 Investment Managers. And this provides us with an opportunity to learn and demystify the financial markets, also an opportunity for us to take control of our financial matters through knowledge. But tonight, I'm joined by a young lady, Oratile Hlakoana, the Secretary General of the Milpark Business School, chapter of APSIP. These are people who deal with money. They are professionals in the financial services sector. They recently hosted the Youth Economic Indaba, and she's here to tell us more about the event. Oratile, pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.
Much appreciated. Now, Secretary General.
Yes.
This is a big title.
Yes, it is.
It is a big title. You are the chief nduna. The chief nduna of...
Some would say.
Exactly, of APSIP, right?
Yes.
Just tell me about that position of chief nduna, Milpark Business School.
While being the only female in my chapter,
on top of
having a chairperson who's male, chairperson, vice who's also male,
Yes.
being the only female, I get everyone in order.
Exactly.
When they are misbehaving, basically.
Yeah, so you are the one who says, yeah, you told the line, right?
Yes. The meeting starts at 3. It must begin.
Exactly.
Yes.
Otherwise, you'll hand them the minutes of the meeting when they walk in. Say, I had a meeting by myself, decided this is how things are going to go.
And I concluded the meeting.
Sure. APSIP, I said you are the guys who learn all about money, handle money. Tell us a bit more about APSIP and the student chapter.
Well, APSIP, regarding the student chapter, gives us a platform to network with people in the financial industry.
Yes.
We have career days. We also have motivational talks. So basically, it's for students who are interested in the financial industry to gain more knowledge.
Okay.
Yes.
And you are studying that too?
I'm studying BCom Investment Management.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh. Okay. That's why I'm interested, that you see. So when they say investment management, whatever, so you understand what that is.
Yes, I understand.
What is it all about, actually?
It is not only for those who are studying investment management.
Yes.
I mean, we've got those who are doing HR, who are doing anything really.
But who are interested in something relating to finance
yes,
and the economy to some extent, I suppose.
Definitely.
Excellent. So how many members?
We have 100 members. We are a newly developed chapter, so yes, we only have 100 members.
Now, with that group of young students, you still took the initiative to have your Indaba, the Youth Indaba.
Yes.
And was it well attended?
Yes, we had 350 students. We had students from KZN, from Bloemfontein. It was just a wide variety.
And the agenda, I mean, which speakers did you have? What were the topics?
We had Mr. Mohale Ralibito, who is the CEO of the Black Business Council. We also had Mr. Shipalana, who is a motivational speaker.
Sure.
We had 2 panels of very influential people who I believe should be role models to the youth.
So who are those?
We had Miss Palisa from KPMG. We had it was a number of people.
Okay, well, you must bring some of them here on the program. How come I don't know about it?
I will definitely do so.
Maybe because you were able to whip people in line, right?
Yes.
And get them to do stuff. I try.
I don't even know why you weren't invited.
You see, raise exactly the point.
Yes.
Exactly the point.
Yes.
Raise it with them very strong,
Definitely.
forcefully so.
Yeah,
and say, how come
Mr. Mutisa
was not
invited?
there?
Yes.
So you must bring some of the speakers here.
Yes, I will.
All right? But tell me, what's going on from the students' point of view? I mean, when you discuss these things, and we'll talk about the Indaba in a moment. From yourselves as students, when you sit in your meetings and you look at what's going on in the economy and the financial services market, what do you see?
Students are depressed.
Why?
They don't know how they're going to get jobs, where they're going to get jobs, if they should be looking to get jobs internationally, because they believe that locally they're going to be sitting kokoning, just like anyone else who has a degree and who doesn't have a degree. So that is the problem we are facing right now. We don't know how we're going to get jobs, because clearly with just our degrees, it's not working out.
But the financial, from what I've read and I've observed anyway, it looks like financial services sector is doing very well in South Africa, especially in Gauteng.
It's doing well, but where are the jobs?
Aren't there opportunities anyway for people to come with some disruptive ways? And I don't think jobs are not there necessarily. That's just my view, especially for people who now have got professional skills like yourselves working on that, right? Because you probably can add value, you can contribute something to the system not as employees, but maybe as contracted people who, we're going through this disruptive time of technology, as well as becoming a knowledge-based economy. At least that your sector is a knowledge-based one.
Yes,
Somehow your knowledge is needed.
Yes, our knowledge is definitely needed.
Yeah.
One thing, I forgot her name, she said that we need to make ourselves more employable.
Yes.
So that's the problem with the youth, that they expect after studying a degree that they're going to get jobs just
Yes.
based on their degree,
Yes.
not having done vocational work, perhaps,
Yeah.
not... most of the youth are busy on Instagram and Facebooking, but they don't even have a LinkedIn account. That is one way to network with people. So you need to make your CV more approachable.
So what were the good takeaways from the youth in Durban as far as you're concerned? When you look back, it's one thing to organize an event, right? And have hundreds of people attend and get the great speakers. And at the end of it all, you say, and so what? So what happened? What do you think the benefits are that the students reap
I think
from this?
as entrepreneurs, we were motivated to go do more research.
Yes.
Because we believe that money is going to just be handed to us, not knowing what kind of funders we are looking for, because that's one thing I didn't even know. As an entrepreneur, I'm looking for funding, but I don't even know what kind of funder I'm looking for. So that is one thing that I learned. Yes.
Now, the Indaba it was addressing the bigger situation in the country. You spoke about the young people, looking for employment and so on. And the economy is not doing well. That you feel it even as students already?
Yes, we definitely do feel it as students. Just on a daily basis, we feel it.
Now, the question of exclusion, I know APSIP talks about that, and it was formed to get more people to participate in the financial services sector. Is it something that you think as students is still an issue for yourselves?
Not at all.
Yeah.
With platforms like APSIP, we don't feel excluded at
Yes.
all.
Yeah.
We feel that we have a place
Yeah.
to go to, and we will receive help, whether it's mentorship or networking or being molded. So,
one of the things I try to do when I have guests on the show, I always try to learn something from them in terms of their own experience, and being Secretary Generals of APSIP, being one of them at the Milpark. So I ask myself, and studying towards investment management, right, that just nje, when you look at us in South Africa and you say, there's something we need to learn about money and financial markets or financial services. What do you think is the challenge of ordinary South Africans, young, old, or whatever, that when you look at us, you say, hey, I just wish these people could get it and they don't get
Yes.
it. What is it?
to not compete with others.
Yeah.
You see people in your community driving these fancy cars, and you also want to just drive the BMW to not forgetting that your business comes first.
Yes.
Do not take money from your business to spend it on buying a new BMW just so you can fit in with others. Rather reinvest your money into that business so it can grow. Do not think short term, but think long term. That's what I can tell people.
Okay.
Yes.
So, and it gets worse. If you don't have money, you don't have a business, and you want to compete with
with
those who already have.
Yes, but osala ole mo dikolotong.
Hey, man. Smog, trouble. Let's start down now.
Yes, just to shine.
Exactly. So that's the basic lesson.
That's the problem, yes.
Because this is Money Moves, we offer advice, and that is the advice you're giving us.
Yes, it is definitely the advice.
Repeat that. What is it? What is the last message?
The last message is that people should not focus on direction and not speed.
Yes.
Because speed kills. Always.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So if you have money, focus
Rather
on
reinvest it.
long term, right?
Long term, don't think short term with your money.
And
Never.
short term consumption for that matter.
Yes.
It will get you into trouble.
It will get you into trouble.
And to students who are looking forward to participating in the economy, what have you learned?
To students, I'd say start investing now.
Yeah.
We have retail savings bonds. You can start saving your money in that immediately. Do not wait for you to have a salary. Start saving with the money that your parents give you. Do not go buying new shoes or where you don't need those shoes. Just put it aside for a later purpose.
Oratile Hlakoana, thank you very much.
Thank you.
The big donor, the Secretary General of APSIP student chapter at Milpark Business School. Everything of the best to you.
Thank you very much.
And your colleagues there, right?
Yes.
Okay, this is Money Moves brought to you by 274 Investment Managers. Well, we're pleased to see young professionals undergoing training, notwithstanding their concerns, but hopefully in time they'll graduate and participate meaningfully in the economy as well as provide us with the knowledge that we lack. Speed kills. Who would have known that? Who would have thought about it? That please focus on the long-term game. We continue with the show in a moment. As the Department of Health remains steadfast in their plans to launch the National Health Insurance that will see blanket healthcare medical insurance provided to all South Africans in public and private hospitals, the Board of Healthcare Funders, who represent the major medical aids in the country, have come out to say it's time for state intervention in the healthcare sector. The CEO of the board is Dr. Humphrey Zokufa, who joins us to discuss how medical aid schemes plan to manage the introduction of the system and what the future looks like for private medical aid schemes. Dr. Zokufa, pleasure to have you with us once again.
Thanks for having me.
Much appreciated. Before we talk about the details of the National Health Insurance Plan or Health Insurance Scheme, the lay of the land, because healthcare provision in the country has been a very vexed issue, hot potato, with numerous complications. We hear of a huge pot of money lying in the private sector, providing or catering to a small percentage, around 20% or thereabouts. And then a small portion of resources being in the public sector, catering for a large number of people. What is the true state of play at this time?
It's exactly like that. Right now, according to the figures, for the public healthcare system, the National Treasury allocates about 170 billion rand, and to service then the 80% or so people in South Africa. That's about 44 million people.
Yeah.
And then there is 140 billion rand that's is collected by medical aid schemes, which services about 16% of the population. So you have 140 and 170 billion rand, a difference of about 30 billion rand. But the population served, the difference is significant because the 16% translates to about 8.8 million lives or so, and then the other 80% translate to about 44 million people. So clearly there's inequality.
That's right. Now, and there are certain cost drivers and other factors to be considered here, because if one may use the word, there's a value chain, right, in healthcare provision. It's the professionals, it's the hospitals, the clinics, the pharmaceutical companies, and so it goes, right? And that in itself can add to the cost burden, if I may call it that. So tell me, how does it work? Because here is the public sector under pressure, yet it functions, it provides healthcare. We may ask questions and have issues, which we have, with the quality of healthcare. And then in the private sector, costs are very high. That's one of the issues I learned is of concern.
Yes, very much of concern. In fact, it's dire, because if there's no intervention right now, the whole thing is going to implode. The private sector, with all the huge financial resources you're talking about that are there, together with the huge human resources at specialist levels and the rest, and facilities like private hospitals and the rest, that whole system as it is now, if you project into the future, is not viable and sustainable. It will implode. The public sector, on the other side, is having these mega resources, is chasing its tail to try and improve the situation. And it's chasing its tail because there isn't enough money for the Minister of Health to begin to improve the public sector to the level that is expected. And secondly, there isn't enough money that they get from Treasury to be able to keep the highly paid specialists in the private sector to remain in the public sector. So we have a situation where the two sectors are threatened, albeit by different issues. And then the total health care of the country is then threatened. In a situation like that, the government of the day cannot stand by and not intervene. It will be abdicating its responsibility, because Section 27 of the Constitution is very clear. It makes government accountable. It doesn't make private hospitals accountable. It doesn't make medical aids accountable. It doesn't make healthcare providers accountable. When this whole thing goes belly up as projected, the government of the day is going to be made accountable. Therefore, they've got no choice but to intervene.
So, you've got the statistics before you. You see all the factors, the dynamics behind this. What needs to happen? Is the National Health Insurance Scheme the way to go? And if it is, how is it going to alleviate the problem?
It's the first thing to do, because you see, the problem right now is the healthcare finance is pocketed in different fragments. One of the WHO proposals on how to improve healthcare and achieve universal healthcare is that the money that is used for healthcare has to be pooled in one pool. You can't have a situation where the 140 billion that I'm talking about is pocketed in 83 medical aid schemes. And then you have the 170 billion that I've talked about pocketed in 9 provinces and some in metros and the rest. And then you have some money that is sitting in the road accident fund. You've got money sitting in occupational health and all that. So in South Africa, the total amount of money that is there in the system for healthcare is fragmented. Therefore, you lose your ability to manage the healthcare profitably and what have you. The corporate world in business will not allow that. The head office of any big organization will not allow this kind of fragmentation because you lose your scale.
Yes.
You use your power to negotiate.
Yes.
For instance, the figures that are quoted now, 170, 140, that's 110 billion rand.
Yes.
That translates to 8.5% of GDP.
Yes.
That's high. That translates to about 11.2% of government expenditure. But the outcomes are bad. Why? Because that 310, 320 billion is not sitting in one pot where now you can negotiate with various healthcare providers to extract reasonable tariffs that will then purchase healthcare and then that made available to everybody in the country.
And of course, the quality and all of those things will be dealt with that way, right?
Within that framework.
Yes.
So that's why the NHI is important, because the NHI is pooling all the money that is there in the system that is currently fragmented. Because that fragmentation has caused the loss of power to negotiate appropriately and purchase healthcare at reasonable prices.
So why is it not being introduced? Because it's been discussed for some time. I know there was a pilot program in that regard, but you know, how far off are we from the introduction?
Correct.
Comprehensively.
Correct. See, we have a democratic system. If this was autocratic, it would have been implemented long ago, because it's a no-brainer. The Green Paper came out in 2010, somewhere around there. Then there was a huge delay. The white paper, the NHI white paper is out. It came out in December, and work streams are formed to try and put more detail into that. And it's broken into 3 phases, which means for the first phase, which is this phase, a lot of things have to be put in place. Then it migrates to the next phase and the third phase. So in many ways, it is being implemented, albeit slow. That's why we at BHF are very much encouraged by this, because there was a huge delay between the publication of the Green Paper and the White Paper. And everybody was saying, why is this delay? We need this thing like yesterday. So when it was published in December last year, we were very excited, and then we've put in our comments as well, supporting that, and we're positioning ourselves to play a very integral and constructive role to make sure that it happens, because there is no other way.
Sure. But now the pressures, the money is one part of the issue at this time, and then there's the problem of with different service providers and the skills and resources needed, right? I'm not sure if we have an adequate number of professionals, healthcare professionals in South Africa at the moment. Do we?
Well, we don't have enough. I don't think that the country is enough. But the issue is this. How best then do you model the services so that you can make the best out of those who are there? Right now, the migration, up to about 80% of the healthcare professionals are in the private sector, servicing 8.8.
Yes.
And they are not in the public sector to service the other people, 80% plus. And it's all because of various issues, including availability of financial resources.
That's one side. And I know the Competition Commission had hearings, it's a finding type thing to investigate, but there's no particular end goal. It's just a suspicion that there might be collusion and other unfair practices going on
Yes.
in the private healthcare sector.
Yes.
So what do you think is the key thing then that the Competition Commission will come across with their inquiry?
I think with the inquiry, the Competition Commission, depending on how much they drill down, they will establish that there is some collusion to a point. Okay? And then they will also probably establish that it's not so much about competition. It has a lot to do with to what extent do you regulate the tariffs or the prices linked to healthcare. Because competition in healthcare doesn't hold. It's not like you're shopping around for a car and then you can buy any car you want, you can afford. So in terms of healthcare, that luxury is not there. Therefore, you are at the mercy of those who know better, and you relinquish your rights to those people. So you can't talk about competition there. And then those people, therefore, what they charge you financially should be regulated in one or another. It is not regulated right now. Okay. The only thing that's regulated now is pharmaceuticals.
So there might be some profiteering, collusion, and so on that's going on.
Correct.
Now, let's conclude this. National health insurance has to be introduced like yesterday. Is that your view?
That's my view.
Okay. And then what else do we need to deal with in an almost immediate sense going forward? What should our priorities be?
Well, the first priority is, on one side, making sure that everything that will make the national health insurance work well. But more importantly, we need to talk to the consumer. Because patient A or citizen X, who is on a medical aid now, feels secure to a point beyond which they don't feel secure. Now, you coming up with an NHI, and in many ways the NHI is portrayed as something that will destroy the medical aids. And if you don't know what NHI is going to give you, you feel insecure. And you get to a situation where you want to fight against NHI. So there has to be a lot of communication to the consumer to understand exactly what are the positive attributes of NHI and what does it mean to you. And the way I understand it and the way I've been involved with it, and that's why I'm excited about it, is that it's going to give you a better deal than you're getting now from any medical aid scheme.
Okay.
And so that's the way to go.
All right. Dr. Humphrey Zokufa, thanks very much for coming around and talking to us.
Thank you.
And of course, this is a contentious issue going forward. We've spoken about the Competition Commission. And again, there are different interest groups that are paying particular attention. It's money anyway that people are focused on. Yeah. But the pressures must be alleviated anyway because it's not sustainable going forward. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for having me.
That's Dr. Humphrey Zokufa, who's just explained to us what the NHI is likely to achieve for South Africa, as well as the contentious issues in the healthcare system of our country. Share your thoughts with us. Write to us at tonightwithtimmodise@gmail.com. My next guest is a former model who's graced the pages of local and international titles such as O Magazine, Glamour, and Elle. She left modeling to pursue an acting career which landed her first role in the television series Inkaba. And subsequent to that, she appeared in Isidingo and Saints and Sinners. She's worked with legendary performers such as John Kani, Magic Slatrayo, Baby Kele, and Ernest Ndlovu. She's appeared in movies as well, playing a lead role in an Arabic comedy alongside Egyptian actor Rames Galal. She's also appeared in an English and Portuguese action film, Diaz Santana. We're joined by Nompilo Gwala. Pleasure to have you with us, ma'am.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And welcome. Arabic. That's the one I want to start with.
Yes.
Arabic. You speak Arabic?
Mostly I just had to learn
or
my
memorize
dialogue.
And remember that, and that's
I
it.
remember most of my favorite phrases.
Yes.
Marhaban means it's a greeting, hello.
Marhaban.
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 Yes.
Okay.
And when somebody says la 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 la, that means no, 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 no.
Yes.
And if you're being called and you're not ready, which for actresses is quite normal.
Yeah.
You say saweni, which means just a moment.
Okay. Which sounded Zulu-like to me.
Saweni, yes.
Okay.
And
so
yalla.
it goes. And of course, this was a comedy.
It was a comedy.
Yes.
The first time I had ever done a comedy. And to do a comedy in a language you had never spoken more than one word in is quite a daunting task, but we got through it. And I've gotten really great feedback. I have people from the Middle East,
Yes.
from Iraq, from all sorts
From
of
Iraq?
from Iraq.
Wow.
Leaving all sorts of messages on my Facebook page. So
Okay, I'll
it
run
was
away if
great.
somebody phone me from Iraq and I see the message from Iraq and it says Saweni or whatever it is. But anyway, that's the world. It shows that different cultures, experiences can come together.
True.
And this is something, that I doubt very much that as much as you imagined yourself being on television and in the movies, you ever thought you could do a movie in Arabic. How did you land that part?
It was just a normal audition process. I went in for an audition, and they said, "Would you be prepared to even go in and learn some Arabic?"
Yes.
And I was like, "Well, I've been to Egypt
Yes.
a couple of times."
Yes.
But I had never known how to say anything other than Habibi
Yes.
in Egyptian Arabic, because there are different kinds of Arabic. There's Fusha, there's Egyptian, there's all sorts of different dialects of
Yes.
Arabic. And I was like, I'm ready for the challenge, and I just took the opportunity and I landed the job.
But your road to acting starts in modeling, right?
Yes.
And how long in modeling?
I was a teenage model. I started modeling at around 17. First job ever was as a Virgin Active model member. That led to getting an agent when I was around 19 years old. First job took me to Egypt.
Okay.
It was.
That's where you learned to say Habibi.
Yes.
Okay, you learned Habibi, that word Habibi. I remember Egypt, Habibi. No
Yes.
problem, right? By the way, what does it mean?
Habibi means my love.
Okay, all right. You continue.
Strange word to learn as your first word in any language.
I don't know,
but
it might be a loaded story behind that Habibi,
Wow.
so let's leave it for now. Or you can explain it if you want.
No, I would rather not.
Okay.
I continued as a model for about 5 years, and
Yeah.
then landed my first job as an actress in 2012.
So now you move into acting, deliberate move, or it just so happened that, people see you and say, why don't you join us here? We think you could fit in this particular role. I suspect you were recruited. Did you audition?
I auditioned
Okay.
for my first acting role.
Yeah.
I had initially gone in for a character named Fumi, who was a model. They were looking for an actual model to play a model. I went in for that character. I hadn't even said 5 words, and Portia Gomede looked at me and said, "Who are you here to audition for?" And I said, "Fumi." And she was like, "Did they give you the script for Notando?" And I was like, "No."
Yes.
She's like, "Okay, you can do this audition, but I want to give you this script. How much time do we have?" I'm like, "As much time as you need me for." She gave me the script. I went into the boardroom. I came back and did what she needed me to do, and I landed the role of Notando rather than the one of Fumi, and Notando happened to be the lead character.
Okay. So what's the expression? You aced it. Sort of. Huh?
Just there.
Just there. And they say, all right, the lead role is yours now.
Yes.
I'm sure there are a few actors who don't like you today, who actually went to read for that. But it doesn't
I'm
matter.
really not concerned.
Well, there will be other opportunities
Yes.
elsewhere. And then you did a few more television productions,
Yes.
right?
I then went on to do Isidingo, where I played the character of Amohle, who was a bit of a vixen villain, Katleho's rival for her husband. I was...
For Habibi.
Yeah.
All right?
I was the mistress.
Oh, that makes it worse. But anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was a lot of very spicy fight scenes, verbal.
I'm not going
keep
to
it.
ask more about that.
Yes.
But now, the Portuguese English movie. Again, you had to learn some Portuguese, I suspect.
A little bit. I was playing a character named Tandi, so she was South African. She was an arms dealer. That was something different. The first time I'd ever shot a gun was during a film. During an action film was the first time I ever shot a gun.
Yeah.
That was quite an experience on its own.
A variety of roles. You know,
Yes,
there's guns
yes.
being shot, being mistress,
Yes.
doing this, doing that. And of course, at the end of the day, the world of modeling and television and movie acting is a glamorous life, isn't it? Or that's what people think it is, but
It's
not quite.
mostly what people think it is.
Yeah, but there are many issues there, I suppose, that you have to deal with. You've got to be a strong character in your own right and overcome a whole number of hurdles, right?
That's
but I
very
learned
true.
the other side, the other story of your life, which you spoke about recently, is something that you feel strongly about, that many young women, in particular girls, should be made aware of.
Yes.
You're a rape survivor?
I am. I was raped twice in my life. I was 6 years old the first time it happened, and I was 18 years old the second time it happened. It was with somebody who was a boyfriend at the time.
Yes.
And I didn't disclose for many, many years. It was in my early 20s when I finally disclosed. My mother was the first person that I spoke to, and the process of then going to rape crisis, therapy, seeking legal avenues, and
how did
finally
this
healing.
and affect you personally? I mean, on one side, you want to become a person. You went
Yes.
on to be a model, actor,
Yes.
and so on. But when you're carrying the pain, the scar
Yes.
of this nature, it is very difficult because you've got to wear a mask, I
Yeah.
suppose, right? And present yourself as this happy, glamorous person who looks good, who's been given these opportunities. Yet you are carrying this kind of
Yes.
pain and scar.
Yes. In my younger years, it was heavier, a burden to carry because I hadn't shared it with anybody.
Yes.
So a burden that you carry on your own is a heavy one. And I attempted suicide when I was around 12, 13 years old. Woke up Pretoria Academic Hospital after having my stomach pumped, and the doctors literally told me that the amount of toxicity that was in my body, they were just amazed at the fact that I walked away from that unscathed.
And it's as a result of probably the depression.
Yes, yes.
It came from the earlier experience.
Deep, dark depression I've had to experience and go through. Luckily, in my case, I've never had to take any medication.
Yes.
And I've been able to get out of those deep, dark periods on my own through therapy, through counsel, through prayer, and all of that. I've been able to get through that. I live a relatively happy life. Yes.
I suppose, when you were still a child, having had this experience, you did not tell anyone.
At all.
Why? Were you afraid, or were you threatened? Were you
No,
warned not to? Or?
In the beginning, I was so young, being 6 years old,
Yes,
I was
can
so
imagine,
young,
yeah.
I barely knew what had happened to
Yes.
me. I only figured out what had happened to me while watching an episode of Soul City one day, which is why I think it's so important to me to do the work that I do. When the last season of Saints and Sinners came out, and I saw the script and it says that my character gets raped, that was the perfect time to then disclose this, because life imitating art, or art imitating life, when you get the chance to tell the story of abuse, you give it 150% of yourself,
And I
because
can imagine-
it's an important story to tell.
At a much younger age, it's most likely to be somebody you trusted. And knew, not
It was
really.
somebody I knew, yes,
Okay.
but it wasn't somebody who was in my immediate family.
Yes,
I
yes.
had gone to buy a packet of chips,
Yes.
and a door was locked behind me, and
Yes.
my life changed
Yeah.
forever.
Well, very hard and difficult story.
Yes.
I can't ask you any more questions about it except to say you probably, once you started talking about this, more people came to you and said thank you for telling your story and sharing
Yes.
with us, because we've gone through the same experience. Is that your view from what you know, that many
I have
more people?
people come up to me personally. I have young women leave messages in my inbox on my social network saying this happened to me. I still feel this way, or I'm struggling with this. And I'm by no means a psychologist, and I will always refer them to that kind of help. But I can only speak to what I have experienced, and a lot of the feelings are the same. You suffer with depression, you suffer with self-esteem issues. suicide. So I can only share and tell them how I got through those things and just say to them, let me know how you're progressing. And I also go to schools or whatever and speak to young women and say, it doesn't have to be abuse related, but if you are suffering silently, speak to someone, speak to me, speak to your teacher, speak to your priest, speak to somebody, just say something, because once you share that burden, it isn't as heavy.
And then you're able to continue with their life and work.
Yes.
Now, rape survivor, but you've gone on to become a star in your own right. And it's easy for somebody to say, shake it off, but not as easy as that. You've got to deal with the issues relating to it. But how are you doing now? Feeling good?
I'm great. I live, like I said, quite a happy life. I'm content in my career. I'm content in, my personal life. Everything.
So what's the next project? Movie? What, Chinese? Or what is it going to be?
Traveling is something that I enjoy very much, and I'm about to leave to go to Europe.
Okay.
And so to mix those two things, my work and my love for traveling, that's the ultimate.
Yeah.
I think David Bourdain lives my dream life. He gets to go to amazing places and eat their food.
Yes.
That's what I would love to do.
Okay. But thanks again for coming and spending time with us, and we're very happy that you survived all the traumas in your life.
Thank you so much.
And went on to succeed and achieve the major things you are achieving now. And I'm sure you are on a serious growth path now.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Much appreciated, Nopilo. Thank you. Well, what's the Arabic word, by the way?
Marhaban.
Marhaban.
Yes.
Is that how we end it?
Oh, marhaban.
Marhaban. Marhaban, Nompilo. And this is how we come to the end of our show, and we hope that you enjoyed tonight's program. We invite you to be with us again next time. Don't forget to send us your tweets, feedback at Tim Modise, or write to us tonight with Tim Modise at Gmail. From us, good night to you.